Long time no see. The horses got you too, huh? I've been wanting to draw Pokemon gijinkas for forever, but I could never really find a style or aesthetic that appealed to me to make a Pokemon human. Until now. So today I will be taking Pontya, and Spectrier and turning them into support cards from the game. Now, the support cards, if you haven't seen one, look like this. They have a very specific kind of background and a very specific art style, and all the girls are in their school uniforms. So I took all of these design elements and put them into the drawings I'm gonna do now, starting with the background I did for these cards. It's super simple and not exactly stylized the same as the cards, but I just wanted to get the general same feel. But the background isn't my focus. I wanted to include it anyway so you guys could see the process real fast. It's not anything super impressive, but I wanted to include it here anyway because I never see artists on YouTube include the backgrounds they do for art, if they even do any. And it's something I always struggled with. So yeah, here it is. And now we're moving on to the girlies. First up is Galarian Ponyta. So obviously Ponyta is not one that I could skip on a horse girl gijinkas video, right? But I couldn't decide which one, so I ended up doing both of them, yeah. And immediately, right away, you'll notice one of the first things that's different from my art style is how far apart the eyes are. They felt so unnaturally far apart to me. I measured so many different cards to see how far apart the eyes are. Ooh. But I think what was even more surprising is how natural they felt once I finished the image. Galarian Ponyta is the newer of the two versions of Ponyta that exist in the game, obviously. So I wanted to take a big sister, little sister sort of motif, so Galarian Ponyta is the little sister of this pair. In Umamusume, there's a big emphasis on rivals and having a racing rival, so it only made sense to make them sisters and also have like a sort of friendly rivalry going on. Even though one is way older than the other, it's sort of a one-sided rivalry thing going on. I wanted to keep Galarian Ponyta's really fluffy hair with a lot of flyaways, and I also wanted to keep the color gradient as close as possible, while still sticking to the bright colors of Umamusume. Now, one of the things most of the support cards at the rare level have in Umamusume is that they have sort of a purple lighting layer that reflects on the hair, the clothing, and the skin, while most of the image is also done in a cel-shaded style. Ugh, try saying that 3 times fast, cel-shaded style. Alongside the cel-shaded style, there is a small gradient on both the skin and the hair that brings in warmer tones. So for the skin, you can see in the cheeks and around the elbows and fingers, there's more pink. And inside the hair itself, we have a bit of a darker purple leaning towards a red gradient as the hair goes farther down the body. One thing I did a little bit off style here was I went back and I added more shading on the top of the head because it felt like it was just too much of a single blob of color. I also added more shading to the ears just to help it blend better. To make this look even a little bit more like Galarian Ponyta, I also go back and add one of the silly little hair flippies to represent the unicorn horn that Galarian Ponyta would have. And now, even in style for the clothing, all the clothing has a bit of a gradient on it on some of the cards, not all of them. But I, being a resident gradient lover, included those in my artwork. Now with a bit of movie magic, we're gonna draw for this card. I love the hair, I love the skirt, I love the style that it's in. I think this looks so good! Storyline-wise, I see this Ponyta being a bit of a brat towards her older sister Ponyta, and I definitely see the two of them fighting over having the same name. And now that we've kind of established how these two would interact with each other, let's move on to drawing Ponyta number 2. When designing Ponyta, the older sister, I wanted her to be more mature, I wanted her to be more serious, I wanted her to be quick to anger, hot-headed, because fire Pokemon. But I also wanted her to have an air of being this protective older sister, so I gave her a bit of a wider stance and a very serious expression to show that she means business. She ain't here to play around, she's here to win races and to protect her little sister. Her little sister that she loves, though she would never actually show that. She has her very serious mean girl reputation to uphold after all. And when I say mean girl, I mean honestly mean and not like actually trying to be mean sort of mean. She kind of doesn't know how mean she can be when she's trying to help somebody out. The kind of mean that tells you your cooking sucks, but because you've genuinely put way too much salt in there and it needs to have less. She's not sugarcoating things is what I mean. Now, as far as design elements go, I tried to keep the hair looking like hair, but also keeping the fiery motif that Ponyta has. I gave it a very cool, like, yellowy gradient over the top of the orange hair so it could have this cool fire effect going on. She has a bit lighter of a skin tone than her sister does, so that way the hair can be more orange and not blend in with the skin as much, since the yellow gradient was kind of getting closer to the skin tone than I wanted it to be. I did the shading at the top of the hair a little differently this time because I didn't really like how it turned out on my Galarian Ponyta, so this time I kind of made it look more like the roots of the hair, and I think that turned out much better. It kept it from looking like just a blob of one solid color, which I like a lot. Okay, I didn't realize how badly I want a Umamusume girly with a fire motif as strong as this one until I was doing the voiceover recordings. I love how this piece turned out so much. Her eyes are a little big for her face, but, you know, it happens, right? I think she still looks really good. And besides, that's part of an anime style anyway. Now, using what I've learned from the first two Ponytas I've drawn, I'm now going to draw a legendary horse, Spectrier. Now, with Shadow Rider being as prominent in the Pokemon competitive scene as it is right now, I really wanted to include at least one of the two riders in this video, and I opted for Spectrier. Cause, like, what am I supposed to do with ice hair? Ha! Plus, I love curly hair. I actually have very curly hair in real life, so it's near and dear to my heart to actually get to draw some of it. There isn't really much, if any, references to draw from for curly hair from Umamusume, so I kind of just made my own sort of interpretation of what I think it would look like if they did some eventually. It's always really hard to make prediction calls like that, but you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. Now, I wanted to give her a very friendly and open appearance, because I believe this character's story arc's entire thing would be that from a distance she's super mysterious, nobody knows what's going on with her, but deep down she's just actually really shy and sweet. From the outside she looks very stoic and very just super hard to approach, but yeah, in reality, just a sweetheart. We convey that sweetness through the posturing and through the expressions. We give her a nice happy smile and a very curious little hand to her chin. And just like the older sister Ponyta piece that I did, I've opted to not use any gradients in this one except for on the skin. So that way the clothing doesn't stand out as much against the rest of the piece. Another thing I changed from the other two pieces is that all of the cards in Umamusume have a brown, like a light browny orange colored line art, which for the darker skin that I used here is actually brighter than the piece, so I ended up turning that into a darker purple to match the hair instead. And since Spectrier was the third and final horse I did, of course I think she looks the best. I was able to put everything I learned from doing the other two into the third one, and I feel like she's the most on style of all three of them. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Which horse was your favorite? Which one was your least favorite? And how am I doing on style matching? I feel like that's one of my favorite challenges to do nowadays. And I just want to say thank you so much for being patient with me these past several months. I know I've been slow, my technology just keeps breaking and I just have to keep buying new stuff. But hopefully I'll be around a little bit longer now. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, I will see you at the next phase of the moon. Good night and goodbye.